Hey, Papa.
I need a napkin or
I'll get you a napkin. Tell these people how wonderful our American blacks are. Tell them how American blacks are the best we got.
Okay.
They're not only the best we got, they're better than they're the best of America.
Absolutely.
We should be the police, everything. We should be treating them with utmost respect for what we put them through. I mean, when the settlers don't do that. When the settlers came and brought the slaves and kept bringing the slaves over and over up until the beginning of the Civil War. I mean, come on. We should be treating blacks and Native Americans, Indians, whatever you want to call them, Cherokees, all the different tribes, Hispanics. We fucked up Texas and New Mexico and California. We took away
Mexico.
And Mexico. We fucked them up. We're still fucking them up. DEA, CIA. Come on. Like us whites, we should be fucking helping the blacks. Tell them how great blacks are. Tell them how you were raised by blacks, my dad, in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
And in Chicago. And in Evanston, Illinois.
Well, start from the beginning, day one. Who raised you, brother? Who raised you, Dad?
Well, listen.
I need a tissue.
Okay. Speak, brother.
Speak up.
Talk.
Bill Lynch, who is from
Speak.
Northern Ireland.
No. Who raised you? Stay on subject.
All right.
Who raised you?
I was raised.
Who raised you?
I was raised by the.
Who the fuck raised you?
By everybody in the kitchen of my grandmother's house.
Where was your grandmother's house?
In Evanston, Illinois.
And who is your grandmother? What was her name?
Her name was Mabel Virginia Redmond Landreth, and her family came from her grandmother was Mary Ellen Lewis.
Don't worry about
From
that.
St. Louis.
Don't worry about the genealogy. Who raised you? Talk about these beautiful, strong women.
People said to me.
What did they teach you? What did they teach you about the Bible? How'd you learn the Bible? How'd you learn right from wrong?
Well, the people who worked in the kitchen of my grandmother's house raised me. I was a little boy. I would wander into the kitchen, probably wanting something to eat or a little hungry or something. They'd give me something to eat, and then they'd give me a whole string of numbers, like 100 digits in a row, and I'd parrot them back at them, and they'd say, "Oh boy, that's a smart little boy," and then Joe Devine would say, "Davy, come over, little Davy, come. Brother Davy, come over here, and let me teach you something. You want to know how to spell something?" So he said, "You know how to spell pie? P-I-E. Spells pie." So that's the
first word you
word I learned how to spell. And he said,
What kind of pies they make you?
"Oh, they made apple, cherry, beautiful things. Blueberry pie."
How did they make them? What was in the crust?
Oh, is it lard? Lard, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of butter. And I spent all my.
And then your parents took you to Tennessee.
Well, and
No, then they took it.
To Evanston.
Kansas City.
Sorry.
Kansas City, Kansas. We lived a year in Kansas City,
Who
Kansas.
took care of you there?
All the people in the family Aunt Penny was our I thought I mean, I had, on my grandmother's farm in Marshall, Missouri, my great-grandfather, James Thompson Redmond, was in the barber shop, and somebody said, "You ought to go out to Marshall, Missouri. There's some farms for sale out there. It's right near the Missouri River. There's black loam that's 19 feet deep." And by the time he got out there on the train from St. Louis, they were all bought up. So he bought a little farm, 108 acres.
I don't want you to get into that, Dad. I want you to talk about these very beautiful, powerful black women that raised you. So then you go to Tennessee after that.
Well, let him stay in
Can I just finish?
Yeah,
Let
but
us
don't go on
finish
too long
Marshall.
about that.
All right. So when I came home from my years at Harvard University or Harvard College, and later at the University of Connecticut, getting my master's degree in English and American literature, I would go to a black church in Knoxville, Tennessee, the AME's African American Episcopal Zion Church. And the pastor was a great friend. All the congregation was totally welcoming. I was the only white person in the congregation. And they made me feel absolutely comfortable.
as they do everywhere. They're wonderful.
And this was the church where this misguided, tragically sad person
Killed 9
who
people,
killed 9 people,
including the senator
including the pastor.
and the pastor and other important, well-loved people.
Well, I heard one of the state senators.
Who was he? He was a white guy, right?
No, he was black.
Oh, shoot.
I spent about a half an hour listening to this man.
Can't put this on tape
Why?
because this is just politically dangerous.
I'm just saying that one of the state senators
Should have overlooked.
who was killed.
I have to edit this or
And
delete it.
Well, but the pastor was killed too. He was sitting next to the man who had welcomed this young white man into the church and said, "You are welcome in our Bible study group." All right, so sitting next to the pastor, whom he actually killed with this spray of, I don't know what kind of pistol or automatic pistol he had, or semi-automatic. At any rate,
Yeah, I can't put that in.
um,
I can't put this in. You have to start over.
it's all right, let him say it.
let me just finish it.
Well, it's never gonna get published.
So
It's
what?
fine.
I don't give a.
This is
I don't care if it doesn't get published.
we can never publish that. Maybe 60 years from now, but I mean, right now, black people are being mistreated by police. Anything we say negative, even if it's true about blacks, is just going to be misused.
He's not saying anything negative, black.
It doesn't matter. The fact that we're talking about how blacks raised them, and now he's talking about someone who killed 9 people having to do with a church. I can't really have that.
Let me just finish saying what I wanted to say.
Well,
And
okay.
stop interrupting.
I won't interrupt anymore, but we won't be able to publish it.
Well, that's all right. Keep it private. Private is good.
Well, what I heard,
I just wanted you to talk about these black women.
I mean, I am actually a member of the same
It doesn't matter.
Nick
The fact that
denomination.
the fact that you talked about a black man killing people.
It wasn't a black man, it was a white
So
man.
was all the newscasters talked about it.
No,
I'm not doing anything
You just said
different.
it was a black man.
No, he's not.
You just
The
said
killer was a white man.
Who was the killer? I just asked if he was black. And
No, he was white.
He was white.
And they welcomed him into the Bible group, and he sat and he listened, and everybody was very nice to him, and then he took out a gun.
All right,
and
sorry,
shot
that
people.
wasn't clear before.
All right, let me just say this. These people were interviewed by CNN reporters who did a terrific job, I thought. You may not like CNN, what they do, but I thought the reporters were extremely serious about what had happened, extremely emotionally.
What are you talking about with CNN? That's a relatively new station that came about in the 80s when that girl went down in the well and was rescued. So you were talking about your childhood, which happened in the late 30s, 40s, and now you're talking about some good coverage.
Why are you interrupting me?
When did this happen? CNN covered what event?
The murder of 9 people in a church, an AME Zion church.
Are you talking about what happened just now?
Yes.
Why did you talk about
You know what AME Zion means?
Yeah, but you're supposed to be talking about these wonderful black people that raised you.
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about
No, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the strength I see. Every person who was interviewed that was a member of this church who had lost family members, 3 or 4 people in their family, including their closest loved ones, husbands and wives, and children, and maybe parents, and they said, we are concerned for the spiritual life of this person who killed our loved ones. They said, that's all we are concerned about. We are praying for him and for the healing. And when I saw that, these people talking, and they said, we forgive him. We forgive him. We do not question anything about whatever he did. We only want healing. And we are able to forgive him. And I thought, when I heard that, I thought, these are the strongest people in the whole of the United States. These people have more strength and spiritual power and goodness than anything
white people can come up with. Right.
I thought, this is the strength of our country. Right here, I'm hearing them able to speak about this horrendous event that just robbed them of all the closeness and family ties, wiped out half of their families. I mean, 9 people, 6 women and 6 men killed.
That's 6 women and
That's
6.
12 people.
That's 12.
It was 9 people.
All I'm saying is that I saw in the verbal expression of each of these people who were interviewed on CNN the day of the shooting. It had happened probably several hours before because of the time difference. I mean, I was listening to this in France. And I saw a kind of ability to forgive and a spiritual strength that was so extraordinarily profound. I thought, this is the strength of our nation in these people. And I just happened to be a member of that church. I had given about 40 years ago a sermon in the African American Episcopal Zion Church in Knoxville, Tennessee, under the sponsorship of its pastor, G.J. Hill, Reverend G.J. Hill, a sermon. And to get a preacher's license, I was on my way to Harvard Divinity School to become an Episcopal minister, which I never became. But I did give this sermon, and the members of the church came up. I didn't think I did a great job. I didn't have, I read in they have a book called Their Discipline in that AME Zion Church. And it talks about the sermon and the build-up and so on. Well, I didn't have the right build-up. And everybody came around and they shook my hand.
Yeah, but they knew you were a good white boy, so
Well,
they listened to you.
No, but what they did is they said, it'll get better. That's what they said. So I got my preacher's license, a little thing I carried around in my wallet for about 40 years. And so I'm a member of that very church. And the idea that people that I sat with while I was moved, while the sermon was given by Reverend Hill, my good friend, to whom I went to a quadrennial conference of the church
with
him in Detroit. I thought, what if people I sat with in that church, where I was so moved, and I really felt I got my Christian faith back by being welcomed into that church and hearing his great sermons and hearing their gospel choir. What if my friends who I'd sat with all those days in the congregation and said hello to, who were so welcoming and warm to me and made me feel so comfortable and unself-conscious, what if one of them had been killed the way these people were killed in Charleston? And what if my great friend George Hill had been killed the way this pastor was killed in this absolutely insane action of this
racist?
Well, I'm not going to say anything about. I
He
don't
was-
know a thing about this
He
man.
was a white supremacist,
That's right.
and he used the Confederacy flag.
All right. I don't know much about him.
I'm telling you the facts.
All right.
Yes.
All I'm saying, I heard that he said that he wanted to start a race war. That's the only thing I've heard about him.
It was already a war of police against the poor. It used to be police against the blacks and Latinos. I think it's really against the poor now.
It's very bad. Very bad indeed.
Well, that's basically all I have to say about this horrible event. President Obama has given a eulogy I did not watch, unfortunately, because in all his speeches he has the greatest oratory of any public elected official that I've known and since I've been around.
Well, what about Kennedy?
Better than Kennedy, I think.
It's unfortunate that his actions as president, his inability to seize the day and help our country out of the hole.
This is not an anti-Obama critique of Obama video, but
Well, I'm just speaking.
wrap it up.
I've wrapped it up.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I did not hear that eulogy. I did hear the eulogy to Beau Biden, which was beautifully done, very moving, and full of moral lessons and moral principles, beautifully stated by Barry Obama, our president. I mean, there was a conspiracy by Mitch McConnell and
All those Republicans.
and a number of other, Boehner and the others, that they would block everything you tried to do
And that was their agenda for this,
for
these
this
last-
administration.
for this administration, the life of this administration. That's what they're doing, that's what they're about. They're out to stir up the worst elements of our melting pot.
If they could just get the young
It's
black people out
It's
of,
divide and conquer. They don't want the poor to be unified in their
as a block.
fight for self-determination. They want blacks to be against poor whites. They want Latinos and blacks also to be competitive. They want, they want the Asians, or they want the Arabs or the North Africans
Divisiveness.
or any type of Muslim from Asia. They want all these Muslims to be put in a new, terrifying, segregated, poor concentration camp. They want to put the blacks in a different one, the Latinos in a different one, put them all against each other so they can't mix to rise up against this basically silent coup de grace, a kind of inverse coup d'etat that happened after 9/11, which was to destroy the 99.999 and 0.001% of the population. They're the ones that get to somehow look like good people.
Well,
Through the
be
media,
that as it may.
through the media and the police.
Well, we gotta get young black fathers out of prison. There are no in black family. There are no black males at home. There are no fathers at home to guide their sons.
Well, that was first going back 50 years ago. I mean, and 40 years ago, there were changes in industry. So you had factories in Philadelphia that moved, I don't know where, and
Outsourcing.
lots of black families were just sort of exploded because the father lost his job, and then the next generation didn't even have a job, and then the next generation was seeing like the only way to get a BMW or a Mercedes was to
peddle drugs.
sell drugs. That was the only shot they had. The rest of society was not really allowing them to be part of the table.
No seat at the table.
I mean, that's urban sociology. You see what happened with how the police treated that little tiny uprising. They dropped a bomb on a small townhouse, basically, in Philadelphia. I mean, we've been committing terrorism against the poor and the unions
And the blacks.
since the birth of the Communist Party.
With a militarized police force.
This is not new that the police work for the rich and the They worked for the industrialists in the early 20th century, and now work for the
The oligarchy.
this very, very plutocracy, the very, very tiny, small number of mega elites.
Anyway,
Where are you going?
go to bed.
All right, good night.
Good night, Charlie.
Sleep well, David. You have to have a shower in the morning,
I will just have a shower.
and,
And if I call you,
I'll come and help.
here, we get dressed.
But we have to remember that you have to lift your leg and your shoe and so forth, so forth.